خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان في الميزان سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم كلمتان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان في الميزان سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم كلمتان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان في الميزان سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم 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 سبحان الله العظيم سبحان الله العظيم سبحان الله العظيم سبحان الله العظيم
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can everyone hear me? Yes, alhamdulillah. How is everyone doing today? Yes, this class has ended so fast. Alhamdulillah, everyone is doing good. Is everyone excited or sad? How do you feel? It's the last day of class. You're sad and excited? You're sad? Okay. Is everyone ready for the last day of class? Yes? Yeah, Sister Mahnur, you haven't been here long. It's only been a few days with you. Hopefully, yeah, sure you are. Okay, alhamdulillah. Well, we should begin soon. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين آمين. You only started this week. That's really sad. I'm going to miss all of you too. You're going to miss this? Yes, me too. Sister Zanira says she's scared. That's a new one. Me too. Okay. What are you scared? Oh, I forgot about the final oral assessment. Yes, is that what you all are scared for? Yes. How's that going? How is studying for that going? Is anyone completely ready? Is anyone really behind? You're almost done? Is anyone just halfway getting through it? A little bit? Okay. Not fully, but mostly. That's good. Alhamdulillah. I just have to do the surahs now. Okay, that's good. Alhamdulillah. You're working your way up. You're almost done. Okay, that's good. Alhamdulillah. Just make sure you are practicing every single day because it will help you retain it better when you are consistent with your practice. So make sure you're consistent with it. Try to practice daily, and if you can, do it multiple times daily. So maybe sorry about that. So maybe in the morning after Fajr, like I've mentioned many times, after Fajr is a very blessed time. So maybe after Fajr or before Maghrib, there's just different times that you could just stick to, and then it doesn't take too long. It's gonna take what 15 minutes per session. It won't take too long, inshallah. So just take some time out of every single day to work your way up and start memorizing the du'as and the surahs, inshallah. For those of you who already know most of it, don't start slacking now just because you do know most of it. This is a big mistake many people make. They think they know it and then they just stop practicing, and that's a huge mistake because it ends up costing them on their tests or exams. And you should be consistent with it even if you already know most of it, because you can always improve. There's always room for improvement, and you can always improve your tajweed, improve your makharij, improve your articulation of the sounds and the letters. You can always improve minor details here and there, revise your hifz daily. So it's good to just always have that extra practice, inshallah. Again, just how the saying goes, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? So try your best and do whatever you can to be as prepared as possible for that day, inshallah. I memorized at least 3 things in the afternoon. That's very good. Okay, does anyone have any questions regarding the final oral assessment before we move on for today's session? Not for now? Okay, so if you do think of any questions, just email us, sabilulmu'mineen120@gmail.com, and inshallah, I will try to get back to you ASAP. I do apologize for not sending yesterday not sending the Dhul Hijjah and the Hajj interactive notebooks and the planners. I will be sending that right after class today, inshallah, alongside with today's material. What are all the du'as we need to know? I have sent out the email. I will send it out again just in case, because I feel like some of you have not received the email. You have the email, you have the email, you have the email. Okay, Sister Mahnur, I will type in our email here. Just make sure after class, right after class, make sure, put on a sticky note, put a reminder or something. Just make sure you email us right away so that I can send you the du'as ASAP. Okay, so here is the email, sabilulmu'mineen120@gmail.com. You can send an email right now, after class or whenever. Just make sure you do it as soon as possible so I can send you the dua list as soon as possible. And I can just forward you the email. Has everyone else received it? Because if everyone else has received it, I won't be sending it again. I'll just send it to Mahnur separately. Yes? Okay, alhamdulillah. And everyone is practicing, right? Yes? Okay, that's good, alhamdulillah. Okay, so I know the du'as on Panita. Okay, that's good. Barakallah fikum. For the surah, Sister Mahnur, we are doing Surah Duha. So وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, and then we are doing Surah Al-Alaq. So اقرأ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ. So those are the 2 surahs you're being tested on. For the du'as, I sent a list of all the du'as. So Sister Mahnur, just email us ASAP, and then I will get back to you and send you the list of the du'as that you need to memorize for the final assessment, inshallah. Also, tomorrow I will be giving out the link for the weekly quiz. This week's quiz is not going to be based on any Asma al-Husna. So the only thing you do have to review and go over is going to be the tafsir slides, which I will also be sending tomorrow in an email. Okay, inshallah. And tomorrow's quiz, actually the quiz I send out tomorrow is not only going to be based on this week's material, it's actually going to be based on all the tafsir that we have covered in this entire course. And so because of that, I will be moving the deadline from usually how it's Monday night. I will be moving the deadline from Monday night to Wednesday or Thursday night. I'm not exactly sure, but you do have more time now. You have to go, I will be sending an email with all the tafsir slides that we have done from Surah Al-Duha, Surah Al-Alaq, Surah Al-Ghashiyah, and Surah Al-A'la. And then these questions will be based off of, for the next quiz, the one that I will be uploading tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, the questions for that will be based on all the tafsir that we have done. So it's just going to be only tafsir, and it's going to be all the 4 surahs, inshallah. So make sure you study well for that. Make sure you go over the slides multiple times before you attempt it. Don't attempt it right away because we look at the first mark that you submitted the quiz with. So if you do get like a 6 out of 20 the first time and then you get a 12 out of 20 the second time, we will still be considering the 6 out of 20. So make sure you are very, very prepared. You are well, you have studied well, and that you're ready to do the quiz before you attempt it, inshallah. This is going to be quiz 5, not quiz 4. Sister Mahnoor, send an email for the quizzes. You have to email us, and then I will, inshallah, add you to the list of emails. I feel like I don't have you on the list of emails because you registered late. Okay? So yes, make sure this is going to be a bigger quiz than usual. I mean, it's going to be a more lengthy one. It's also going to be one you have to study a little bit more from. You're going to have to know all of the tafsirs that we have done so far. Inshallah, it won't be too difficult, so don't stress about it too much. And the deadline will not be on Monday. It will be further than that. So you do not have to worry about that as well, inshallah. How many questions are in quiz 5? I'm not sure yet. I have not started making the quiz. I will start making it tomorrow morning, inshallah, and then I will see how that goes. I might have maybe 25, 30-ish questions. But this is just an estimate. I'm not really sure. It might even be 20, it might even be 40. Allahu Alam. So I will start tomorrow, inshallah, and then I'll send it. No, Ayatul Kursi is not on the exam. I believe. Let me actually let me check the dua list that I emailed you all just to make sure. It might be. I'm just gonna double check in the PDF file that I sent with all the duas. Yes, Ayatul Kursi is in it. Yes, you are being tested on Ayatul Kursi too, inshallah. Okay. Okay. So we will be moving on to our tafsir session now. Again, we usually cover 5 verses for tafsir, but today, inshallah, we will be covering 9 verses and completing Surah Al-A'la. I will also be going over Surah Al-A'la from the beginning just to give you a quick refresher. So today we are only doing tafsir, and then hifz session, and then we are doing our morning and evening azkar. We are also going to finish our morning and evening azkar today, inshallah. So we're going to complete Surah Al-A'la. We're going to complete our hifz. We are also completing our morning and evening azkar today, inshallah. That is why I will try to go as fast as I can, while making sure that I'm explaining it thoroughly, so that you do have a good understanding, but we have to watch on time as well. Okay. Just give me a second. I will upload the slides. Okay. Okay. Surah Al-A'la, chapter 87, the Most High. You all can see the slides, right? Can you all see the slides properly? Yes? Okay. So Surah Al-A'la, chapter 87, the Most High. We have covered verses 1 through 10, and today we'll be doing 11 to 19, inshallah. Right now, I'll quickly go over a quick recap. So, introduction: the Prophet ﷺ has given the surah immense amount of importance as he used to recite it in Jumu'ah Salah, in Eid Salah, in the Dhuhr prayer, and in Witr prayers as well. So that's why we know that because the Prophet ﷺ recited the surah so frequently, it is a sunnah for us to do so as well, and that this surah must have an extreme amount of importance. So we need to learn the message of this surah. So what does the surah say? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى. Exalt the name of your Lord the Most High. This is a direct command to us to exalt the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to worship Allah, strive to please Him, mention Him, and do tasbih and practice His remembrance, inshallah, and glorify His existence. الذي خلق فسوى, who created and proportioned. The reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not mentioned anything specifically, for example, He created the sky, He created Jannah, He created Jahannam, none of this is mentioned specifically because it's common knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-Khalaq. Al-Khalaq. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created al-Khaliq. He's the one who created everything. And He also proportioned everything. What does proportion mean? He beautified it and added details and patterns and colors and made everything so unique and so distinct from each other. It's a very beautiful creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything is leveled and smoothened as well. Moving on to the next verse. وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى, and who destined and then guided. We learned that everything has ordained, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destined a decree for all of His creation beforehand. That everything has a decree ordained for it, and this decree was ordained 50,000 years before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens. So just imagine how long ago Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens. Imagine, it's a long, long time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens a long time ago. It's been centuries upon centuries upon centuries, right? And 50,000 years before that. So that is a long and extreme amount of time. So this is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained a decree for all of His creation. And ordaining a decree includes the smallest and finest details, including how many breaths am I going to breathe in on July 1st, 2021? Where are you going to walk tomorrow? What school are you going to go to 3 years from now? It's the smallest details. What food you're going to eat on this specific time, and etc. So it's the smallest details that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already destined a decree for us. And we learn that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also guides. So guides is in two terms, is in religious matters and worldly matters. Religious matters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides those who are sincere to Islam, to true Islam and the deen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides animals and humans on worldly matters as well. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help regarding worldly matters and religious matters. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help for smallest things. There are hadiths that the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would make a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the smallest details. If a Sahaba's shoelace, there's a hadith that one companion, his shoelace broke off. His shoelace was messed up, and he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only for a shoelace. So you see, small worldly matters like this, we should continue to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves it when we make dua and ask Him and rely upon Him. We are all dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Moving on. وَالَّذِي أَخْرَجَ الْمَرْعَى, and who brings out the pasture, فَجَعَلَهُ غُثَاءً أَحْوَى, and then makes it black stubble. And the point of these two verses is to show that everything has a beginning and an end, and that things in this world have a peak and a decline. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make pasture that is grazing land, that is green and fresh, and it's grass for animals and livestock. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change it just like that. It will have a beginning and then a decline and then an end. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make the pasture stubble, can be very dark and intense in color, can become black and dark brown and saturated and deeply bright in color. The plants will decay and the plants will turn dark and lifeless and dried up and withered. So all of this, we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make anything end whenever he wants, and that every single thing has a beginning and an end. Everything has a peak and a decline as well. And this ties into the next verse because we talk about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's memory. So we see that memory has a beginning and an end, and then memory has a peak and a decline as well. Memory is not always fresh. An example of declining memory is when an example of fresh memory is when you study well for an exam. You study all the material for an exam, and then you have that material in your brain and it's fresh. But 1 year later, all that material will be forgotten, or most of it at least, and the material is no longer fresh, right? The peak is gone. Now you're at a decline in terms of your memory. Going on to the next verse, سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى. We will make you recite, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you will not forget. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah will not allow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to forget the message of Islam, to forget the Quran, to forget the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to be very afraid that he will forget the Quran, and we know that Jibreel alayhi salam would come down from up above to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and would that is the wahi, that is the revelation, and Jibreel alayhi salam would recite the verses to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was not written. The Quran did not come in a book form, in a written form. The Jibreel alayhi salam would recite the verses, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would immediately start repeating and reciting the verses even before Jibreel alayhi salam finished, because he was so scared that he would forget the verses. So we see he was scared of his memory, that it will decline, and it's completely normal. This is a natural instinct. It's a natural feeling and worry. This is something normally anyone would be afraid of. When you have such a huge responsibility of spreading the message of Islam and spreading the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're obviously very scared to forget it, right? And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a man. He's a human. He's not an extraordinary, he's not a different creature. He's still human, right? So he has human feelings and emotions as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to not be hasty in repeating, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make sure he does not forget the verses. So he's comforting the Prophet and assuring the Messenger of Allah, and this shows that we should trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Moving on to the next verse. إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى. Except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall will. And indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows what is declared and what is hidden. So we see over here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not allow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to forget unless Allah wills. And we learned that there are two interpretations for this. One is that this refers to the abrogated commands, that the commands that no longer apply. So these were made to be forgotten on purpose because they were not supposed to be part of the Quran. The second interpretation of this from the scholars, from the ulama, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah will only allow you to forget if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. But the point is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not will, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already mentioned that He will not allow you to forget. And this just shows us, and it reminds us, that all matters, whether it's worldly or religious, all matters are in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands. Moving on. The second part of the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is declared and hidden. So, and we have covered this type of verse many times, that Allah knows what we do in public and in private. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is done openly and behind closed doors, what we say out loud and what is in our minds. We know that Allah is Al-Alim. We cover this in Asma'ul Husna, right? Allah is Al-Alim, the all-knowledgeable, the all-knowing. Moving on, وَنُيَسِّرُكَ لِلْيُسْرَى, and we will ease you towards ease. And we learned that tasks by definition are not easy or difficult, and it's very subjective to the individual themselves. That this may refer to facilitating or receiving the Quran and conveying the message because of how big a responsibility it was. This does not necessarily mean that it's a simple task. It just means that it is possible and doable, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it this way for him, inshallah. فَذَكِّرْ إِن نَفَعَتِ الذِّكْرَى. So remind if the reminder should benefit. And we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his job is to remind people that just start with baby steps. It's a huge responsibility, so start with baby steps. Start by first reminding, informing, and telling others. And another interpretation of this is that the Prophet is being told to remind only those who will receive the message positively. to not remind those that will treat him harshly and negatively impact themselves and others with the message of Islam. No, only to the people who will receive the message positively, who the Prophet know that they will obey him and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. سَيَذَّكَّرُ مَن يَخْشَى. He who fears Allah will be reminded. And we see over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the ones who fear Allah will take lessons from the Quran and learn from the reminders of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that whoever the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminds but they do not receive the message well, they receive it negatively, these are the people who do not fear Allah. These are the people who have no taqwa. Moving on to verse number 11. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Are we supposed to remind disbelievers as well? Again, it depends. So we are supposed to, if we know that someone is interested in Islam, then yes, we should try our very best to give them the knowledge and the resources. It may not be ourselves because we may not be the most knowledgeable ones, but we should refer them to maybe a scholar or someone else who is more knowledgeable and capable of doing da'wah work. So that is what we should do if someone is generally interested in Islam. But if you know someone, all they do is mock Islam and they don't really care, then there's no point because they're not interested in learning and bettering themselves. They're only interested in mocking the deen of Allah. They're interested in being egotistical and being very self-absorbed. Okay. Okay, moving on to verse number 11. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَيَتَجَنَّبُهَا الْأَشْقَى. But the wretched one will avoid it. So this is a continuation from the previous verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to remind those who will take the message well, and that whoever takes the message well are those who have taqwa and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those who do not take benefit from the reminder of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these people have no taqwa, and that these people are of the wretched. So the word yatajannabuha, one of its roots is a jan, and this means that when one sides, avoids, or keeps away. And these people, these wretched people, will avoid and keep away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's reminders. And the word al-ashqa comes from the word shaqi, and this means one who is wretched, one with a bad state and bad actions. It's essentially a failure. So the one who avoids the Quran, he is a wretched individual, he is a wretched human. And this is a very, very bad and negative title to have. So it's a warning for us, essentially, that if you disobey the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you receive the message of Islam negatively and you don't like it and you're not interested in it, if you avoid the Quran purposely, then who are you really? Are you one who fears Allah? Or are you one who is amongst the wretched, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the wretched ones? الَّذِي يَصْلَى النَّارَ الْكُبْرَى. He who will enter and burn in the greatest fire. النَّارَ الْكُبْرَى. Kubra means the greatest fire. There is no fire greater than this fire. النَّارَ الْكُبْرَى means the maximum, greatest amount of fire. And this is Jahannam. This is Jahannam. It's the worst fire that we can ever imagine. We can't even imagine Jahannam. We cannot imagine Jahannam. It's not like any fire in this world. If the whole world was to be set on fire, that's still nothing close to Jahannam. Jahannam is something that we cannot imagine. It's so bad and scary, and it's something we all should be fearful of very much. And we see it's Al-Kubra, the greatest one. So we see that we see that these people, the wretched people who purposely avoid the Quran, purposely avoid the reminders that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was giving to the people, these are the wretched people. These people will enter the fire of hell. This is their destination. Jahannam is their destination. We learn that there's no fire greater than the fire of hell, and that Jahannam will have 70,000 leashes. We all know what a leash is, right? Just imagine leashing a leash on a dog, but this is so much worse than a regular leash. This is so much worse and more severe. Hell will have 70,000 leashes to keep it from escaping. And each leash will be held by 70,000 angels. Keep in mind, this is not humans. These are angels. Angels are so much more bigger and powerful than us. 70,000 angels will hold one leash, and there are 70,000 leashes holding Jahannam so that it does not escape. This is the fire of hell. This is a fire, and that we can never ever imagine anything like it. And this is very scary. We should say, Allahumma ajirna minan nar. Oh Allah, protect us from the fire. Protect us from the punishment of the fire. Ameen. ثُمَّ لَا يَمُوتُ فِيهَا وَلَا يَحْيَا. Neither dying therein nor living. This is a very scary part, that there is no relief in hell, that the people of Jahannam, that the wretched people of Jahannam, they are not living, but they are not dead either. So what are they? If they're not alive and they're not dead, what are they? They are in a state between life and death. And that is a very, very painful state. You're not alive, so you can't feel all these emotions, but you're not dead either. So you can't unfeel everything. You're in the painful state between life and death. And this is their home forever. Yes, Sister Sarah, they will be here forever. And it's continuous pain and agony. And usually in this world, when you reach a certain amount of pain, when, for example, if there was a fire in this world, after you burn a certain amount, your internal organs will burn and you will die, right? You will pass away. You will reach death. That death will take over you, and you will no longer feel the pain because you're dead now. So you can't feel, right? But this is different. This is very different. In Jahannam, there is no death. So you will never stop feeling the pain. There will be continuous pain and agony. There is no way for you to stop or run away from the pain because you can't die. You're always going to be there. It's never ending. There is no maximum or limit to the amount of pain you can feel in Jahannam. And this is how scary it is. This is how scary it is. There's no relief in Jahannam at all. No rest, no breaks, nothing. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. He has certainly succeeded who purifies himself. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the believers. Those who purify themselves are the ones who are truly successful. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ, certainly succeeded. Are who? تَزَكَّى, the ones who purify themselves. So what does it mean? What does tazakka mean? Tazakka means ones who purify and clean themselves, not only literally, so not only in the literal sense that I'm taking dirt off me, that I'm taking a shower, no, but purify yourselves of sins, remove your sins, take away your bad deeds and your bad sins. Start focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Completely purify yourself, get a clean slate, remove all your sins. That is what this means. To focus on the good and try your best to attain nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to pleasure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what we're here for, to worship Allah and to attain His pleasure, inshallah. So this purification gets rid of dirt and filth. The Quran, we learned that the Quran is like rain because it pours over abundantly and purifies. Once you read the Quran, that's what it does. It purifies you as an individual. It cleans an individual. And secondly, it does not only clean and purify one, but it also beautifies. That is the second part of tazkiyah, to beautify and adorn the person. First is removing the dirt. When, for example, if someone is homeless and very dirty and has not showered in maybe 2 months, what is the first step? The first step is they are going to take off all their dirty clothes and take a shower and take off all their dirt off of them, right? The second step is to beautify and adorn them. That is the second step. To put on nice clothes, to put on some maybe nice jewelry, to put on some maybe nice perfume, whatever it is, to adorn yourself and beautify yourself. That is the second part of tazkiyah. So we know that how do we do this to ourselves? We know that good deeds erase bad ones, and that is the way to beautify ourselves. The first way to purify ourselves is to remove the bad deeds. Then how do we beautify it? By doing good deeds. And these good deeds will erase bad ones, and it will also adorn you as an individual. These are the people of true success. These are the people who will truly succeed in both worlds, in this world, in the dunya, and in the akhirah, inshallah. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى, and mention the name of his Lord and praise. So what are the other parts to succeeding? The ones who mention the name. So first we learn tazkiyah. The first step is tazkiyah. The second step after tazkiyah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the dhikr of Allah, remembrance of Allah. The truly successful people keep their tongues moist with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the third step, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَصَلَّى, and then so he prays. The third step is to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to establish the salah consistently and properly, to perform salah regularly and on time. These are the 3 things necessary for success, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. So you want to be successful in this world, you want to be successful in the hereafter, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you a list, a small list of 3 things you need to do for success in this surah, and you are learning them today, inshallah. So I want everyone to practice these 3 things very as much as they can, because this is how you will be successful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising success for these people, for the people who do tazkiyah, who do dhikr, and who do salah, for those who purify themselves and who adorn themselves with good deeds and remove their bad deeds, those who do dhikr, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who perform and establish salah on time and properly. That is the true formula for success. So what is tazkiyah? Tazkiyah refers to striving to always purify oneself. And how do you purify yourself? I know I went over this roughly right now, but once again, looking at the slides, how do you purify yourself? Firstly, recognize and identify the sin. If you don't identify or recognize a sin, you will not realize that you are committing a sin. You will commit sins without even recognizing you're committing sins. It will be so normal for you. So firstly, acknowledge the sin. Secondly, get rid of the sin. Get rid of the sin. So that's the first step of purification. And how do you get rid of the sin? This is very tough. How do you get rid of the sin? Many times we're so used to it. It's so difficult to get rid of a sin, but how do you do this? Firstly, seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you and guide you and to give you the strength to stop committing the sin. Secondly, we know good deeds erase bad sins. We know good deeds erase bad deeds. So do good deeds. Do as much good as you can. Do sadaqah. Read the Quran. And ask for sincere forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do as much good as you can. And this will inshallah help erase your bad deeds. Thirdly, ask for sincere forgiveness. Be sincere in your repentance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? That's how you get rid of the sin. And this will help you purify yourself inshallah. And all that together will inshallah help you become a successful individual in both worlds. That is true success, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises this to us. Moving on. بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا, but you prefer the worldly life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has very clearly and apparently given us the formula, the true formula for success, but most of us still continue to prefer this worldly life. Most of us, despite having knowledge of true success and how to be truly successful in both worlds, we still prefer the dunya. We still prefer the life of this dunya. We don't care about the akhirah. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Allah knows that most of us don't even care. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us reminders upon reminders that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is spreading the message of Islam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you the formula for success. It's right there. It's right in front of your eyes. But you still prefer the worldly life. You still choose the dunya over the akhirah. And this is the biggest mistake you can possibly make. This is the biggest mistake you can make. You cannot prefer the worldly life over the akhirah. The akhirah is eternal. We know this. This dunya is very temporary. The happiness in this dunya does not last. It's very temporary. This world is a temporary world. The akhirah is eternal. It is forever. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى, while the hereafter is better and more enduring. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising us that we might think the dunya is better because we're in the moment. We have not experienced the akhirah yet, so we have no idea. And because we're in the moment in this dunya, we think the dunya is better. But Allah is promising us, we have no idea that the hereafter is so much more better and enduring, that we have absolutely no clue of how amazing the hereafter is. It's something we can never imagine. It's because we haven't experienced it. So that's why this world is a test. It's a test that we are only experiencing one world, and we're supposed to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a better hereafter, inshallah. But for that, we must follow the formula for success. We must obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We must fully and successfully complete our purpose on this world. And that is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to attain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. We are all very indulged in this dunya, and we don't realize the true successes of success in this world and the akhirah. The hereafter is significantly better. This world is very, very short and limited. This world is just a few days. Your life in this world is only a few days. But your life in the hereafter is forever. It is never ending, and it is eternal. There is absolutely no end to your life in the hereafter. No matter how much we enjoy over here, enjoyment in the hereafter is so much more better. The enjoyment in this life is only for a few days. Hereafter is our eternal home. And this world is nothing, absolutely nothing compared to the hereafter. A scholar gave an example for how to compare this world to the hereafter. And she said that think of this world. Actually, sorry. Just think of an ocean. I know many of you go to the beach. So think of an ocean, or think of a sea. Think of an ocean, a huge body of water. If you're at the beach and there is the ocean right there, and you are on the sand, and you walk towards the ocean, and then you put your finger in the water, then you raise your finger out of the water. What is going to be left on your hands? Your finger will probably have one drop of water. One drop of water, correct? And what is left in front of you? The rest of the ocean. All of the ocean. So whatever is on your finger, that is the dunya. That is how short the dunya is. That is how small and insignificant this dunya is. But the hereafter is huge and abundant, and it's eternal. That is the example that has been given. The ocean is the hereafter. And the drop of water on your finger, that is this world. That is this dunya. And it's going to end. The water drop is eventually going to fall, right? And it's eventually your finger's going to dry up. The dunya is going to end. That's how quickly it ends. إِنَّ هَذَا لَفِي الصُّحُفِ الْأُولَى. Indeed, this is in the former scriptures. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that this message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that this world is temporary and the hereafter is eternal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said this many, many times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said this message many times in other scriptures. This is not a new message to us. And we know that this life is temporary, that this world is just a stop in our journey. صُحُفِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى, the scriptures of Abraham and Moses. So this is the scriptures of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this fact in the scriptures revealed to Ibrahim and Musa. And what scriptures were they given? Ibrahim alayhi salam was given the Suhuf, and Musa alayhi salam was given the Torah. Okay. That is the end of Surah Al-A'la. That is the end of Surah Al-A'la, with reminders and a formula for success. And reminders of this world and how temporary it is. This is Surah Al-A'la. This is a surah that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given so much importance to. And it is sunnah to recite the surah in Jumu'ah Salah, Eid Salah, in Dhuhr Salah, and Witr Salah. Okay? We are officially done our tafsir. We're officially done tafsir. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I will quickly move on to our hifz session. I will start from the beginning of the surah. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى. الذي خلق فسوى. الذي خلق فسوى. والذي قدر فهدى. والذي قدر فهدى. والذي أخرج المرعى. والذي أخرج المرعى. فجعله غثاء أحوى. فجعله غثاء أحوى. سنقرئك فلا تنسى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى صحف إبراهيم وموسى Okay, so that is the end of our hifz. I will go over this one more time. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى. Exalt the name of your Lord the Most High. الذي خلق فسوى, who created and proportioned. والذي قدر فهدى, and who destined and then guided. والذي أخرج المرعى, and who brings out the pasture. فجعله غثاء أحوى, and then makes it black stubble. سنقرئك فلا تنسى, we will make you recite, O Muhammad, and you will not forget. إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى, except what Allah should will. Indeed, He knows what is declared and what is hidden. وَنُيَسِّرُكَ لِلْيُسْرَى, and we will ease you towards ease. فَذَكِّرْ إِن نَفَعَتِ الذِّكْرَى, so remind if the reminder should benefit. سَيَذَّكَّرُ مَن يَخْشَى, he who fears Allah will be reminded. وَيَتَجَنَّبُهَا الْأَشْقَى, but the wretched one will avoid it. الَّذِي يَصْلَى النَّارَ الْكُبْرَى, he who will enter and burn in the greatest fire. ثُمَّ لَا يَمُوتُ فِيهَا وَلَا يَحْيَى, neither dying therein nor living. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَن تَزَكَّى, he has certainly succeeded who purifies himself. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى, and mentions the name of his Lord and prays. بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا, but you prefer the worldly life. والآخرة خير وأبقى, while the hereafter is better and more enduring. إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى, indeed this is in the former scriptures. صحف إبراهيم وموسى, the scriptures of Ibrahim and Musa عليه الصلاة. Okay, so you will quickly do our morning and evening Afghar session because we are running out of time. If you give us a data to say du'as, we have to come on other days. Um, you don't have to. Again, you can if you want, but there's no need for you to. Okay, no, we are not done. We are doing our morning and evening azkar really quickly. There's two du'as left, and they're very, very short, and I'm sure most of you know them. So the first one is Subhanallah wa bihamdi. And I'm sure all of you know this by now. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Glory be to Allah and praise be to Allah. And we are supposed to recite this 100 times in the morning and evening. So the others are usually 1 or 3. Subhanallah wa bihamdi 100 times in the morning and evening. Okay? Secondly, Astaghfirullah. This is 100 times in the morning. I seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, these are our two du'as for today. I know they're very, very short. Subhanallah wa bihamdi and Astaghfirullah. Okay, with that, we have completed our morning and evening azkar. We have completed our hifz, and we have completed our tafsir session as well. Barakallah feekum. So we are officially done the course. We have officially completed the course. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Does anyone have any final thoughts or reflections about this course? We will be starting up new courses soon too, inshallah. So if you have any feedback, any thoughts about this course, any reflections about this course, how did you like it? Did you not like it? What parts maybe you didn't like? What parts you loved a lot? Any feedback, anything. Type it in the chat right now. If you can't type it in the chat, make sure you do email us at sabilulmu'mineen120@gmail.com. We will get back to you, and we are thankful for any constructive criticism. So anything that will help us benefit as we start having more and more courses, inshallah. You loved it. That's very good. Barakallah feekum. Jazakallah khair for everyone who did attend. Jazakallah khair. I will miss you all very much. And inshallah, we will see each other in different courses. Maybe when we start having more and more courses, inshallah. Inshallah, I hope to see all of you there next time. This is our last course, our last day. The next time we will see each other will be for our oral assessments, our final assessments. Okay, so make sure you do prepare for that. I want all of you to do very, very well in that, inshallah. Do prepare, try your best, practice every single day, be consistent. Okay, key is to be consistent, inshallah. With that, we will end off our final class. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.